The Healer's Way is proudly brought to you by Natural Therapy Pages, Start Your Journey, and Australian College of Natural Medicine, with thanks to Wellbeing Magazine, C-Band, Nova Magazine, and Brumby Books and Music. Hi, I'm Sharon Gung. Welcome to The Healer's Way. With a background in Eastern philosophies, sociology and counselling, James Refield is the author of #1 international bestseller, The Celestine Prophecy. The Celestine Prophecy is an extraordinary spiritual adventure story that highlights 9 insights towards evolution. And James is certainly a man who walks his talk, being actively involved in saving the environment, infusing spiritual values into politics and other humanitarian ventures. So come with me and let's find out what James has to say about the Celestine Prophecy and his insights into health and healing. Hi James, welcome to The Healer's Way.
Thank you.
Now, you have won prestigious humanitarian awards, you're very socially and environmentally aware and active, and of course you're the author of the absolutely successful The Celestine Prophecy. Why do you think that it is as popular and as applicable today as when it was first published 15 years ago?
Well, I think that it's a book that describes a deeper spiritual experience, and it's not just mentally, but the emotions of the deeper spiritual experience, the actual experiences that one discovers on a spiritual path. So I think that when the book first came out, it crystallized and spoke to what people were already perceiving in their own lives. So that created a pass-along effect. Hey, let's read this. Let's talk about it. And it continues to do that. People sort of open up new generations to the fact that there is more. We all sense there's more than the material life. There's a spiritual dimension. We can discover that for ourselves, and the book talks about how to do that.
Do you think that the spiritual movement it's growing even bigger at the moment?
Yes, very quietly and at the grassroots level, and that's that's been going on for 20 years. I think that what's occurring now, though, is dramatic. Very quietly at first here, we start to see a real integration. People are talking about, how do I go out my door every day living this deeper spirituality? How do I intend to have more mysterious synchronicities, mysterious coincidences that open doors for me? How do I feel that I'm on a mission, that I'm doing something that I feel like I'm supposed to do every day? So that's going to be, it's a very interesting time, because I think now we're ready to move into the institutions of the world, to government, to healthcare, to education, and start to practice and talk about and transform these institutions out there in the world, and that's very important.
Absolutely. Now, the 7th insight, Engaging the Flow, talks about intuition, dream interpretation and awareness of beauty as methods that we can use to attract synchronistic answers to our personal questions.
Yes.
What do you say to people who go, I'm not intuitive, I never get any messages?
Well, I would say that you're missing them. 2 things go wrong. One, we think of something to do, and we do it. And sometimes those things that we think of, it's really a spiritual event. We take credit for an idea that comes at exactly the right time. So you call that old friend, and old friend says, "Wow, I got to tell you all this stuff," and it energizes your life. Or you think, "Well, I have a client," but all of a sudden it dawns on you, "Wow, I ought to call that client. I bet they haven't talked to them in a long time." You call them. "Oh, I was just thinking about you. I need to do this order. Can you help me with this, and this?"
Absolutely.
At every level, business, education, especially healthcare, we get ideas that just come to us spontaneously, and those are intuitions. So one of the things that people have to do is discern whether we're just sort of thinking strategically and running ideas through our words through our brains, thinking of, I have to the list we have for the day, or whether it's an idea that just drops in the back of our minds. And the key question to ask is, why did I think that now?
Right.
Because that keeps you alert to what might be an intuition that's leading or calling for you to take an action. And if we're faithful to those, then what happens is that we have lots of mysterious coincidences.
Sure.
As a result, when we take the action. And our path just keeps flowing with our spiritual growth.
Did you want to talk about how you got led to where you are today?
Well, it was a long process. I grew up in a rural community, a very loving community, that in the southern part of the United States. And they were very spiritual in a quiet way, unstated. But I wanted answers. I wanted, well, what does this mean? What is this redemption process? Within Christianity. What is this nirvana from the East? How does that relate? How do the two relate? I wanted answers for that, and they just sort of, go to college, and I just started a real investigation of comparative religions, and from a spiritual experience point of view, not from the doctrine, but from what do these people feel? What are the experiences that cut across all mystical teaching on the planet? So, what that got me was a sense of just an eye for spiritual experience in general, the more authentic that crosses all religious traditions. And I was in a psychology program, so I really began to look at culture and at polls and just to look at how was society across nations, how are they changing? It became very clear to me that there was a spiritual awakening going on, just by what people were reporting they wanted and what they were finding in polls. So that was the basis of the Celestine prophecy. The argument that we're taking steps across the world into a higher spiritual consciousness. So the insights, of course, is my way of describing what these steps are. They're really archetypal. We're already hardwired for them. We're just kind of
very easy to follow.
living into. We're trying to activate those parts of our brains as we live a little differently, and I began to describe this as best I could in stories, because I think it had to be a parable, because the reading journey has a kind of an effect that transcends just mental learning, because you're suddenly in the action of it and you're in the emotions of it, and suddenly you can grasp what the insight is by seeing other people feel it and how they behave afterwards. And so that's what I discovered was why I'm here. What my mission is to try to chronicle this awakening that's happening around the planet. There's in my view, a new step that we're taking now. I'm calling it the 12th insight. It's the step of integration. And what that means is really doing it, not just thinking about it in quiet time, but go out the door with this consciousness and have it be sustained. So you don't just have one or two coincidences and you feel like you're on a path and it all stops and you wonder why. There are ways that we're learning. People are learning out there, and I'm just trying to describe what people are already discovering. Ways to keep this going in life and to amplify the number of intuitions we have, the number of synchronicities that lead us forward.
Thank you, James. When we return, James Redfield will be talking to us about health and healing, so stay tuned to The Healer's Way.